सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्। हरि ओम। Prakash, you'll be able to record this lecture? Or maybe, oh.
The recording is already on, Swamiji. I can stop it and start again if you want me to.
Yeah. We start chapter 5 of Bhagavat Gita. Chapter 5 of Bhagavad Gita is Jnana Sannyasa Yoga. This particular chapter is the culmination of action, but culmination of action in knowledge and understanding. Very important. You know, a simple action of driving. When we learn driving, when we are teenagers and we start to learn driving, we are so attentive, and the car, whichever direction we look, the car goes in that direction, because we just have not developed the dexterity in driving. And when we acquire the dexterity in driving, 10, 15 years down the road, people can drive with one hand. I've seen people shave while stopped at a traffic light and the light turns green, and they will continue to shave. They shouldn't be doing all these things, but once the dexterity arrives, the action becomes a left-hand play, so to speak. Riding a bicycle, before, you know, people hold the steering wheel and they're to keep the balance. After that, they're talking on the phone, the hands are free and they're pedaling, and they can even make a turn just by the turning the body, and they know exactly how to control it without even touching the steering wheel. So in life, when we do an action, awareness is necessary, and awareness has to precede any type of action. Without awareness, no action can be produced. A dead body cannot do any action. So, that dead body is not worth anything. We have to reduce it to ashes, or place it inside the earth, or whatever it may be, because no action is produced. The awareness principle has abandoned the shell of the body. So the shell remains, but no awareness principle. But when the awareness principle is here and the child is growing up, and we teach child how to eat, how to walk, how to all sorts of actions are done, we don't teach the child, hey, do you know you are seeing? Because not just you have your eyes and the optic nerve and the retina and all those things, but behind it there is consciousness. No mom and dad teaches a child all these things. They may be physicians, but it's like, are you having an issue seeing? Okay, let's get glasses. That's about it. But they don't go into the anatomy of the eye. That's not, they may know it, but they understand the child has a process of learning. So when we come to the 5th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan assumes the fact we know what karma is. We know what akarma is. We know what vikarma is. This understanding, Bhagavan assumes from the 3rd chapter how to do proper action. And how do I learn to do proper action in the 4th chapter. Now in the 5th chapter, Bhagavan comes and says that this action which you think you are doing, guess what? That action is not done because of you. You had improved your intentions behind actions when you learned chapter 3rd. In chapter 3, you learn to nobilize your intentions. In chapter 3, we learn to surrender our actions at the feet of the Lord. And that same simple action turned into karma yoga. Now Bhagavan takes that action and says, action is not done by a body, a person. This action is rooted in awareness principle. And the one who knows the awareness principle becomes a witness. Just like a king sitting on the throne, all actions in the kingdom are done, peace and harmony is maintained by the very mere presence of the king, and nobody dare does anything wrong, or they will be summoned in the court of the king, and the king will question. And if the king decides that the person has not behaved properly, the action is not proper, they will be jailed. Bhagavan says, Arjuna, this consciousness, vartate rajavat sada, it exists like a king all the time. In the presence of king, the entire kingdom is well taken care of. So now Bhagavan is making a very unique presentation of action. Bhagavan is saying that the Vedanta, the science of life and the theory of self-development of a person starts with a person who says, I have desires and my desires need to be fulfilled. So Bhagavan says, okay, you fulfill your desires, but you fulfill them on the righteous path. Then Bhagavan continues and says, while you're fulfilling your desires, understand you have come for greater purpose than just fulfilling desires. Understand your purpose. And to understand your purpose, all the desire prompted activity has to be given up, and you have to pick up activities which should be done. And these actions, you are addressing your swadharma. Your swadharma is much more important than your own desires, your purpose, your duty to your spouse, your duty to your child, your duty as a citizen in this nation supersedes your desires to be happy. Bhagavan says, in the fulfillment of your duty, joy will be delivered. That is the second aspect of the self-development on the basis of Vedanta. And finally, Bhagavan says, you have to even give up this action which is done without any desires. And you have to enter a state of being. And from the state of being, you learn to watch the actions. And you will realize there is a dance that Prakriti does. There is a dance of creation. And we are a tiny little puzzle in the jigsaw puzzle of creation. And when we allow actions to happen with utmost awareness, then we have invoked awareness and not action. Action becomes secondary. Awareness becomes primary. So when I started out by saying, when a teenager learns to drive, they are quite attentive. Then 20, 30 years down the road, their driving becomes like autopilot. But autopilot is not what Bhagavan wants out of our life. That is not dexterity in action. To master the art of driving, we become autopilot. No. Doing dishes, doing laundry, doing vacuuming, working in a hospital, in a law firm, wherever we are, after some time, most of our actions become autopilot. And Bhagavan is saying that autopilot is not invocation of truth. So now Bhagavan comes and says, you have to bring awareness where your actions are. Gurudev used to say, bring your mind where your hands are. Bring your intellect where your hands are. That is 5th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Driving continues, but I'm aware of the fact that I'm driving, and I'm aware of the fact that it is the awareness principle that is blessing this body, so this body is capable of driving. Now, while driving, We are not listening to NPR or some music, but while driving, the radio is off. I'm behind the wheels. I'm looking at the road. I'm aware of the fact that there is a continuous flow of traffic and there is no traffic jam. But in the middle of all this, I'm aware that I am, I am, I am, I am, I am. Not that I am driving. I happen to be driving because I am. And I am supersedes I am driving. In that sentence, I am driving. I am is always there. I am eating. I am worshipping. I am drinking. I am sleeping. I am fill in the blanks. So that I am is the invocation of my presence. And my presence does not require a physical body. The principle of awareness, pure awareness consciousness, it does not require the medium of BMI to exist. It is independent of the equipment of the body, the mind, the intellect. But the intellect, every moment, invokes awareness because of which it is. And so much so that this intellect now is marinated in awareness. And being marinated in awareness, that awareness principle, wherever this person goes, they know their identity as the absolute. That is called renunciation of action in knowledge. Jnana karma sannyas yoga. What is jnanam? I am. What is sannyas? Renunciation of action. Action is not important to me. What is important to me is me. And who am I? I am. That is the yoga of true renunciation of action. That is 5th chapter. This is a tall order. Bhagavan is just leaping. It's a giant leap from the 3rd chapter to 5th chapter. So this is what we are going to see. Okay. Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha. Atha Panchamodhyayah. Arjuna Uvacha. Sanyasam Karmanam Krishna. Punaryogam cha shamsasi. Yachreya etayorekam. Tanme bruhi sunishchitam. Arjuna Uvacha. Arjunji addresses Bhagavan and says, Hey, O Krishna, sannyasam karmanam, renunciation of action, O Krishna, punaha yogam cha sham sasi. Sham sasi, Bhagavan, again, in the last chapter also, you have extolled the renunciation of action over action. Of these two, the renunciation of action and you pray, renunciation of action, O Lord, shamsasi, you praise. And again, punaha yogam, again you say, Arjuna, you have to do karma yoga. But then you're talking about a exalted man of wisdom who has renounced action. You talk about renunciation of action as superior to doing action again and again and again. O Lord, yat shreyah etayoho ekam me Krishna bruhi. Of these two, what is superior? Again, O Lord, one superior you tell me. See the same question he has asked in the 3rd chapter. And Bhagavan in the 4th chapter also talked about the man of wisdom as the one who has acquired knowledge, the one who has gone to a teacher. Shraddhavan labhate jnanam tatparam sanyatendriyam jnanam labdva param shanti achirena adhigacchati. All those things Bhagavan has said. So now Arjuna is saying, what is this? You are asking me to do karma yoga, but again, oh Lord, you have extolled renunciation of action. Which one of these two is better? So now Bhagavan explains. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Sannyasa Karma Yogascha Nishreyasa Karabubho Tayostu Karma Sannyasat Karma Yogo Vishishyate. So it is like a teenager who's learning to drive is very attentive, trying to be attentive and doesn't want to be distracted. And out of habit, he puts radio very loud because he wants to listen to music. But dad is sitting next to him and immediately dad turns the music off and says, drive. Because dad knows that music can be distracting. The purpose that dad serves is he wants his son to master driving. That's all. Son, daughter, whoever it may be. And then the son says, but dad, you listen to music while you are driving. So father says, you first learn to drive. You can listen to music while driving once you have your license. You only have permit. You have to learn, and to learn you have to give your undivided attention. When I am driving and when I'm listening to music, I have the awareness necessary while driving. I'm looking around, scanning the rear view mirror, the side mirrors. I'm aware as to where my car is, its relative speed compared to the speeds of the other car. And I know I'm in middle lane on I-35, and on the right hand lane there is a 18-wheeler, and on the left hand side Ford F350 is going 80 miles per hour, a huge car, and I have a tiny car, and sandwich between these huge things. While listening to it, I can still pay attention to all this and even zone out music at that point in time. But while you are learning, you have to pick up the proper habits of driving first. That is exactly what Bhagavan is saying in different words. That Arjuna, karma yoga is necessary because you have not quite mastered the art of living. Why have you not mastered the art of living? Because you're throwing a tantrum and you don't want to fight the war. And you presented umpteen reasons as to why you don't want to fight the war. But an integrated person a spiritually integrated person will look at life not in compartments, but will look at life as a whole. Having rooted in this knowledge and wisdom, they understand that Prarabdha has brought war today. Let me tend to it properly. That type of processing of life events will only come when one lives a life of karma yoga for a length of period of time. Thus, on one hand, I'm extolling renunciation of action because it is the goal which is indicated in the journey of life. But for you, the means is what I'm asking you to abide in, because you just cannot jump to the goal without going through the means. Thus, tayoho stu karma sannyasat karma yogo vishishyate. Then renunciation of action, engaging in action, is superior for you. And not just you, for all people on this planet. Even the man who has renounced action continues to do action that you are not capable of seeing right now, because you're not prepared to see what is there beyond the goal of renunciation of action. You think that the renunciation of action is inaction. That is not what the goal is. Goal is not inaction. Goal is dissolving the ownership of action. And this takes a while, Arjuna, for you to process. Thus, I have to initiate you into this lifelong process of abiding in karma yoga. Then sannyasa karma yogascha, both renunciation of action and action, nishreyasa karabhubo, both of them lead to that same goal. One is the goal itself and the other one is the means. But for you, means is superior than goal, because it is only when you walk your life through this means you will reach the goal. Now, continuing, shloka number 3. Neyasya nitya sannyasi yo na dveshtati na kankshati nirdvandvo hi mahabaho sukham bandhat pramuchyate. So now, immediately Bhagavan is painting a picture of a renunciate monk of the exalted order, not a fake renunciate monk, the one who has actual knowledge and has renounced. And such a person need not wear ochre robe. Ochre robe has nothing to do with renunciation. The abidance in truth is what is of the utmost importance. So what Bhagavan is saying is, Neyasya nitya sannyasi. The word nitya is very important. The eternal sannyasi. See, Shankaracharya ji, he had taken sannyas, but he had made a promise to his mother that, oh mother, your last days, I will come back. And whatever is required, I will do. It is said, Shankaracharya ji gave up sannyas and wore white clothes to do the last rites. And in fact, he was ridiculed because in our tradition, you can never, once you have taken sannyas, that is it. You can never ever go back because you do the last rites on your own self. But Shankaracharya ji broke that. He did last rites of his own mother. And he retook sannyas again. This is a big episode in the life of a sannyasi. But see, Shankaracharya ji was very much aware of the fact that the ochre robe that he's wearing, he was simply wearing that to become a role model for others to follow. It was not required for him because he was already jnani. There is something known as Vidvat Sannyasi and Vividisha Sannyasi. Vividisha Sannyasi is a sannyasi who takes ochre robe to realize. And Vidvat Sannyasi is the one who already knows the truth and happens to be a sannyasi. Our Tapobanji Maharaj, nobody was willing to give him sannyas. So he took sannyas himself. In Narmada river, he took a bath, removed the old clothes, put an ochre robe, and he named himself Tyagananda. And he went to Himalayas. And people realize it's such an exalted soul. What is your lineage? He said, what lineage? I gave myself sannyas. His guru was the Shankaracharya ji of Dwarika Pitham when he was a boy. But when he came of age, that Shankaracharya ji passed on. And he went to 2-3 sannyasis and everybody thought he's such a learned, they were unfit to give him sannyas. So he gave himself sannyas. This is Guru or Swami Chinmayananda. So in Kailash Ashram, in Uttar Kashi, they said, you please take sannyas, not for you, but for being a role model of for others. And Tapobanji Maharaj agreed. And he actually took sannyas properly. and a name was given Tapovanam. He didn't require sannyas. What is sannyas when you are self-realized soul? It serves no purpose. Sannyas from what? Ever abiding in Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta Swarupaha. Then you're giving up what? So, over here, Bhagavan now is talking about a sannyasi. And he's saying, Neyasya Nitya Sannyasi. Yona Dveshtati na Kamshati. The one who has taken sannyas for the sake of realization, he has to be ever alert. And that ever alert is a Nitya Sannyasi. And what does he have to do? He has to be so alert, he should never ever fall trap into Akanksha and Dvesha. Raga and Dvesha, likes and dislikes. Desire, and over here, Dveshti, the one who hates, and Kankshati, desire. Because the very fact if desires exist, that means you have to renounce them. And if hatred is there, that means you're seeing duality towards something. That means you have to dissolve that. So Shankaracharya ji, Bhagavan Krishna over here is saying that the person who is not yet self-realized, but is on the process and has taken sannyas, has to be vigilant that he keeps the desires at bay and hatred at bay, nirdvandvo, and giving up all dualities. He Mahabaho, Sukham Bandhat Pramuchyate. In due time, this person will be liberated and will become the knower of truth. So Bhagavan is juxtaposing this path of a sannyasi who's not yet realized, but in due time will realize. And Bhagavan has also painted a picture that for you, Arjuna, it is Karma Yoga. Further, now Jnani, we will continue next week. Sarve bhavantu sukhinaः, sarve santu niramayaः, sarve bhadraणि pashyantu, ma kaschit dukha bhag bhavet. Shanti, shanti, shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.